Story 1. Story 1, The Whispering Static. The hum of the fluorescent lights in my cramped studio apartment buzzed like trapped insects. Rain lashed against the windowpane, a steady rhythm against the backdrop of a late-night true crime podcast. I was sketching, charcoal smudging across the page, trying to capture the haunted look in the eyes of a Victorian-era murderer. My phone buzzed on the cluttered desk, the screen flashing with an unknown number. Hello? I answered, expecting a telemarketer. Static. A harsh, crackling static that made my teeth ache. I pulled the phone away from my ear, checked the screen. Still connected. I pressed it back. Hello? The static continued, interspersed with a low, guttural whisper I couldn't decipher. A chill snaked down my spine. Who is this? I demanded, my voice trembling slightly. More static. The whispering grew louder, closer, as if someone was breathing directly into the receiver. It sounded wet, organic. I hung up, heart pounding. A wave of nausea washed over me. Just a prank call, I told myself. But the unsettling feeling lingered. The next night, the phone rang again. Same number. I hesitated, staring at the screen, the pulsating light reflecting in my wide eyes. The ringing stopped abruptly, replaced by a text message. I can hear you breathe. My breath hitched. I looked around the apartment, the shadows deepening in the corners. I lived on the 3rd floor. How could anyone hear me breathe? The phone rang again. This time, I answered. The static returned, louder, more aggressive. The whispering was clearer now, almost intelligible. It sounded like my name, distorted and stretched, laced with something malicious. I threw the phone across the room. It clattered against the wall, the screen cracking. The static continued to pour out of the speaker, filling the small space with its unnerving presence. Over the next few days, the calls and texts escalated. Each one more disturbing than the last. Pictures began appearing on my phone, blurry images of my apartment taken from odd angles. One showed my reflection in the bathroom mirror, my face distorted, almost melting. My body began to react. My skin felt tight, stretched too thin. My fingertips tingled with a strange numbness. My reflection started to change. My eyes seemed larger, darker. My skin developed a strange, mottled texture. I felt like I was coming apart at the seams. One morning, I woke up to find a single, long, black hair coiled on my pillow. It wasn't mine. I pulled it off, repulsed, but as I held it between my fingers, it wriggled. The phone rang. I answered, my voice a choked whisper. I'm inside you now, a voice rasped through the static. It was my voice, but deeper, distorted, inhuman. I looked at my hands. The skin was rippling, pulsing. The black hair was growing from beneath my fingernails, twisting and coiling. I screamed, a guttural, animalistic sound that I didn't recognize. The static intensified, drowning out my screams. I could feel something moving beneath my skin, something shifting and growing. My bones felt like they were melting, reshaping. My vision blurred, the edges turning black. I stumbled, falling to the floor, my body convulsing. The phone clattered beside me, the voice still whispering, a symphony of static and guttural sounds filling the room. I clawed at my face, at the skin that felt too tight, too alien. I tried to scream again, but only a choked gurgle escaped my lips. Then, silence. The static faded. The phone lay on the floor, screen cracked, displaying a single, unread text message. We are one now. I don't remember what happened next. I woke up hours later, disoriented, my body aching. The phone was gone. The apartment was empty. My reflection in the mirror looked normal. But sometimes, late at night, when the rain is falling and the city is silent, I can hear it. A faint whispering static, coming from deep inside me. And sometimes, when I look at my hands, I swear I can see something moving beneath the skin. Something dark. Something waiting. And I know, with a chilling certainty, that I am not alone. I am never alone. Story 2. Story 2, The Glitch. The hum of the fluorescent lights in the break room grated on my nerves. I scrolled through Instagram. The artificial cheer of influencer lives doing little to soothe the dull ache in my chest. It was a Thursday, the kind that stretches on forever, the kind where every minute feels like an hour. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Hey, Sarah." "It's me." I frowned. Sarah wasn't my name. I typed back, "Wrong number." "No, it's you. Remember the park?" "The park?" A shiver, unbidden and unwelcome, traced its path down my spine. I didn't recognize the number, but the message stirred something deep within me, a hazy memory I couldn't quite grasp. I dismissed it, attributing it to a prank. "I'm not Sarah. Stop texting me." I shoved my phone into my pocket, the fabric suddenly feeling coarse and irritating against my skin. The break room, once a haven of mundane normalcy, felt stifling. The air grew heavy, thick with an unspoken tension. I could feel the stares of my co-workers, even though their backs were turned. It was like they knew something I didn't. Or maybe I was just imagining things. That evening, the messages continued. "Don't you remember the swing set? The ice cream truck? The red balloon?" Each message was a pinprick, poking at the edges of my memory. I couldn't shake the feeling of familiarity, a strange echo of something half-remembered, something unsettling. I blocked the number. The next morning, I woke up to a missed call from the same unknown number. A voicemail. My hand trembled as I pressed play. Static. A child's giggle. Then, a whisper, so close it felt like it was breathed into my ear. "It's not Sarah. It's Emily. Emily. My childhood best friend." My stomach lurched. Emily had disappeared 20 years ago, vanished from the park we used to play in. The red balloon, the swing set, the ice cream truck. Fragments of memories, long suppressed, flooded my mind. I deleted the voicemail, my heart pounding against my ribs like a trapped bird. This had to be a sick joke. Someone was messing with me. But then, the photos started. Blurry pictures sent from different unknown numbers. A picture of my apartment building. A picture of me walking to work. A picture of me through my kitchen window, the flash reflecting in the glass like a predatory eye. I went to the police. They were sympathetic, but unhelpful. "No direct threats," they said. "Just keep us informed." Informed of what? Of the growing terror that was consuming me? Of the constant feeling of being watched, the prickling sensation on the back of my neck that told me I wasn't alone. Of the whispers I heard in the silence of my apartment, whispers that sounded like my name, but not quite. My life became a routine of checking locks, peering through blinds, jumping at every creak and groan of the old building. I stopped answering my phone, deleted all my social media accounts. I became a hermit in my own home, the walls closing in on me, the silence deafening. One night, I woke up to a text. Not on my phone. On my laptop. The screen glowed ominously in the darkness. A message from an unknown sender. "Emily remembers. Do you?" Below the message was a video. I hesitated, my finger hovering over the play button. A wave of nausea washed over me. I knew I shouldn't watch it. But I couldn't resist. The video was grainy, the footage flickering. It showed the park. The swing set. The ice cream truck. And then, a figure. A small figure in a red dress, holding a red balloon. Emily. She turned towards the camera, her face obscured by shadow. And then, a voice, a distorted, digitized whisper. "Sarah. My name. Not Emily. My name." The video ended. The screen went black. And then, a new message appeared. "We're waiting." The laptop went dark. The room was plunged into silence, a silence so profound it felt like a physical weight. I sat there, frozen, the echoes of the distorted whisper reverberating in my mind. We're waiting. Waiting for what? Who was waiting? And why did they call me Sarah? The unanswered questions hung in the air, heavy and oppressive. I glanced at the window, half expecting to see a face staring back at me. But there was nothing. Just the darkness. A vast, empty darkness that seemed to stretch on forever. And in that darkness, I could feel them. Waiting. Story 3. Story 3, The Static Symphony. It started with a missed call. A shimmering, oily smudge on my phone screen, an unknown number. I was elbow-deep in dishwater, the lukewarm grey swirling around chipped ceramic, the rhythmic squeak of the sponge a strangely comforting monotony. I wiped my hands on a tea towel, the damp fabric clinging to my skin. Curiosity, that persistent itch, made me call back. Hello? Static. A crackling, spitting noise that burrowed into my ear. I pulled the phone away, checking the screen. Still connected. The static intensified, a swirling vortex of white noise punctuated by sharp, metallic pops. Hello? I repeated, louder this time. My voice sounded thin, brittle. The static shifted, morphed. A low, guttural hum wormed its way through the noise, a subaural vibration that rattled my teeth. A primal fear, cold and slick, coiled in my gut. I hung up, my hand trembling. The next day, it happened again. Same unknown number. Same static. This time, however, a voice, thin and reedy, whispered through the white noise. I strained to hear, the phone pressed so hard against my ear it hurt. The angles, sing. The line went dead. I tried to rationalize it. A prank call. A crossed line. Bad reception. But the unsettling hum resonated deep within me, a discordant symphony played on nerves I didn't know I had. Sleep became a battlefield of fragmented nightmares, vast, starless expanses, cyclopean structures jutting from impossible geometries, and that whispering voice, always just out of reach. My apartment, once a sanctuary, became a cage. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves outside my window, became a potential harbinger. I felt watched. Observed by something vast and incomprehensible, something lurking just beyond the veil of reality. The third call came a week later, as I was staring out my window at the oddly still night sky. No stars, just a thick, inky blackness that seemed to press against the glass. My phone vibrated in my hand. The same unknown number. I almost didn't answer. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the silence. But something compelled me. A morbid curiosity, a desperate need to understand. I answered. The static was different this time. Deeper, richer, almost textured. It pulsed and throbbed, a living thing. And then, the voice, clearer now, closer, whispering directly into my mind. The angles, they hunger. Suddenly, the static erupted in a deafening roar. I dropped the phone, clutching my ears, the noise searing its way into my brain. The air in the room shimmered, distorted. The walls seemed to breathe, to pulsate with the rhythmic hum. And then, silence. Except it wasn't silence. It was an absence, a void where sound should be. A suffocating, oppressive nothingness that pressed against my eardrums. Slowly, cautiously, I looked around. The room was unchanged, yet different. The familiar objects, my bookshelf, my couch, my lamp, seemed subtly wrong, their angles skewed, their proportions distorted. As if viewed through a fractured lens. Then I saw it. On the wall opposite me, a shimmering patch of darkness, like a tear in the fabric of reality. It pulsed and writhed, the edges blurring and reforming, revealing glimpses of something else. Something vast and alien, something that defied description. Fear, raw and primal, flooded me. I wanted to scream, to run, to hide, but I was paralyzed, frozen in place by the sheer, overwhelming strangeness of it all. The patch of darkness expanded, the edges spreading across the wall like ink on blotting paper. Within its depths, I saw shapes moving, shifting, coalescing into forms that defied Euclidean geometry. Angles that shouldn't exist. Curves that twisted and folded in upon themselves. The whispering voice returned, now echoing from within the darkness, resonating within my very bones. "They are coming." I stumbled back, my breath catching in my throat. The darkness reached out, tendrils of shadow snaking across the floor towards me. I don't remember what happened next. I woke up the next morning on my couch, the phone clutched in my hand. The screen was blank. No missed calls. No messages. Nothing. The world outside my window looked normal, the sun shining, birds singing. But the silence was still there. A hollow echo in the back of my mind, a constant reminder of what I had seen, what I had heard. The angles, they are still out there. Waiting. Watching. And I know, with a chilling certainty, that the phone will ring again. Story 4. Story 4, The Static Symphony. The clatter of dishes from Mrs. Henderson's apartment below was a comforting constant, a mundane rhythm in the lonely symphony of my life. I sat hunched over my laptop, the glow reflecting in the dusty window, ignoring the emails piling up in my inbox. It was a Thursday night in late November, the kind where the cold seeped through the ill-fitting window frames of my tiny Brooklyn apartment, wrapping around me like an icy shroud. My phone buzzed on the table beside me. It was Liam, my brother. "Hey, you busy?" the text flashed. "Just working." "What's up?" I replied. Another buzz. "Can you talk?" "Need to ask you something weird." Liam rarely called. He preferred the clipped, detached world of text messages. A sliver of unease pricked at me. "Sure, call me." I typed back. The phone rang almost immediately. "Hey," I answered. Static crackled on the line, a harsh whisper against the silence of my apartment. I could barely hear Liam's voice underneath. "Listen," he strained, "something strange is happening." "What do you mean, strange?" I asked, leaning closer to the receiver. The static intensified, morphing into a low, guttural hum. It felt like it was vibrating in my skull. I can't explain it. It's the phone, the calls, his voice faded in and out, swallowed by the growing hum. They talk. Who's talking, Liam? What are you talking about? My heart began to hammer in my chest. Suddenly, a voice, deep and resonant, cut through the static. It wasn't Liam. It wasn't human. It spoke in a language I didn't understand, yet somehow, I knew its meaning. It spoke of vastness, of cold, uncaring entities, of realities beyond human comprehension. It spoke of hunger. I dropped the phone as if it were burning, a primal scream caught in my throat. The hum continued to emanate from the device, pulsating, growing. The dishes downstairs stopped. Silence, oppressive and thick, descended upon the apartment. I could feel it, a tangible presence, pushing against the walls, pressing in on me. Then, the buzzing started again. My phone. I stared at it, paralyzed with terror. The screen was blank, yet the buzzing persisted, growing louder, more insistent. I backed away, scrambling to my feet. The buzzing intensified, morphing into the same guttural hum that had filled the phone call with Liam. It was coming from everywhere now, the walls, the ceiling, the floor. It vibrated through my bones, resonating in my very being. I fumbled for my keys, my hand shaking uncontrollably. I had to get out. As I reached the door, I glanced back at the phone. The screen was still blank, but now, a single, pulsating symbol had appeared. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before, a series of interconnected lines and curves that seemed to shift and ride before my eyes. It felt familiar. Like a half-remembered dream, a fleeting glimpse into a forgotten past. A past that was vast and cold and terrifying. I tore my eyes away and fled, the humming chasing me down the hallway, down the stairs, out into the cold November night. The streets were deserted, bathed in the sickly yellow glow of streetlights. The hum was still there, fainter now, but persistent. I looked back at my apartment building, the dark windows staring down at me like empty eyes. I kept walking, driven by a primal fear I couldn't comprehend. The hum faded in and out, a phantom whisper at the edge of my hearing. Days turned into weeks. I moved, changed my number, tried to forget. But I couldn't. The symbol, the hum, the voice, they haunted my dreams. Then, one night, my new phone buzzed. An unknown number. I stared at it, my heart pounding in my chest. I knew I shouldn't answer, but something compelled me. A morbid curiosity, a terrifying fascination. I pressed the answer button. Static. The same harsh, whispering static. Then, the hum. Low, guttural, growing. And beneath it, the voice. Speaking in that alien tongue, weaving its tapestry of cosmic horror. This time, it felt closer. The humming intensified, vibrating the phone against my ear, spreading through my hand, up my arm, into my very core. And then, silence. A silence more terrifying than any sound. I'm still holding the phone. The screen is blank. I'm waiting. For what, I don't know. But I know it's coming. I can feel it. The cold vastness is closing in. The dishes downstairs have stopped. Again. Story 5. Story 5, The Whispers on the Line. The rain lashed against the windows of my small apartment, mimicking the frantic rhythm of my heart. I was home alone, tucked under a thick blanket, nursing a cup of chamomile tea, trying to calm the inexplicable unease that had settled upon me like a shroud. Outside, the wind howled, a mournful sound that seeped through the cracks in the window frame. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. It was Liam, my best friend. "You okay?" the text read. "You sounded weird on the phone earlier." I typed back, "Yeah, just tired. Early night." A lie? I hadn't been able to shake the feeling that something was wrong since our call earlier that evening. Something in the background, a whispering, almost guttural sound, barely audible, yet enough to unsettle me. I dismissed it at the time as interference, but the feeling lingered. The buzzing of my phone startled me again. Another text from Liam. "Are you sure?" I heard it too. Like someone breathing heavily. I slithered down my spine. He'd heard it too. Suddenly, the apartment felt colder, the shadows deeper. I clutched my phone tighter, the screen casting a sickly pale light on my trembling hands. "Maybe it was just bad reception," I replied, though the words felt hollow even to me. He responded instantly. "No. It wasn't. Listen, just stay inside, lock the doors, okay? I'm coming over." Relief washed over me, momentarily eclipsing the fear. I wasn't alone. But then, another message. "Sarah? Sarah, are you there?" I typed back a quick yes, my heart pounding against my ribs. Silence. Then, a message that made my blood run cold. "Sarah, I'm outside." But no one's answering when I knock. I rushed to the window, peering out through the rain-streaked glass. Liam's car was parked across the street, its headlights illuminating the empty pavement. But there was no sign of him. I frantically typed back, "I don't see you." "Where are you?" Another message. "Right outside your door. Sarah, please open up. There's something here with me." Terror gripped me, paralyzing me in place. The whispering sound I'd heard on the phone earlier, the heavy breathing, echoed in my mind. It wasn't just on the phone. It was here, outside my apartment. My phone buzzed again. "Sarah, it's big. I can't see its face. It's whispering your name." The words were barely legible, as if typed in a desperate hurry. My hands trembled as I gripped the phone, my breath hitching in my throat. I crept towards the door, my heart hammering against my ribs, every creak of the floorboard sounding like a gunshot in the oppressive silence. I pressed my eye to the peephole. Nothing. Just the dimly lit hallway. I could hear the rain outside, the wind still howling. But no Liam. No thing. My phone buzzed. A single word. Behind. I whirled around, my heart leaping into my throat. The apartment was empty. Shadows danced in the corners of the room, playing tricks on my eyes. My breath caught in my throat, a strangled sob escaping my lips. Then, I heard it. The whispering. Low, guttural, coming from the corner of the room, hidden in the shadows. It sounded wet, like something dragging itself across a damp surface. My phone buzzed again. Don't look. Just run. I didn't hesitate. I fumbled with the lock, threw open the door, and sprinted into the rain-swept night, the chilling whispers echoing in my ears. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I ran until my lungs burned, until my legs ached, until I reached the brightly lit 24-hour diner a few blocks away. Gasping for breath, I stumbled inside, the warmth and the murmur of conversation a fragile shield against the terror that clung to me like a second skin. I called the police, explained everything, the phone calls, the whispers, the thing. They searched my apartment, the surrounding area. They found nothing. No sign of Liam. No sign of anything unusual. They dismissed it as a prank, a hallucination brought on by stress. But I know what I heard. I know what I saw, or rather, what I didn't see. The emptiness in the peephole, the chilling whispers, the terrifying messages from Liam. It's been weeks now. The police have closed the case. Liam is still missing. I've moved to a new apartment, a new city, trying to escape the memories, the fear. But the whispers haven't stopped. They're fainter now, almost imperceptible, but they're there. On the wind, in the rustling of leaves, in the static on the phone line. And sometimes, late at night, when the rain lashes against the windows, I see a flicker of movement in the shadows, hear a faint, guttural breathing. I know it's still out there. Waiting. Whispering my name. My phone buzzed just now. No caller ID. I haven't answered it. I don't think I will. I'm afraid of what I'll hear.